his wife.
Live from Michigan Avenue, this is Good Day Chicago.
And right now on Good Day Chicago, the winter storm is having an impact on at least half the country this morning, bringing snow, ice, and major travel issues.
Unrest continues after another deadly shooting at the hands of federal immigration agents in Minneapolis.
And taking a live look outside on a Monday morning, it is a very cold start to the work week. We will check in with Mike in just a moment. First, I want to say good morning. Welcome to Good Day Chicago. I'm Anthony Ponce.
And I'm Gabriela Primus. Good to have you next.
Thank you.
Hope your weekend was okay. You know, I have to say, I didn't really do much because it was just too dang cold, Mike Kaplan.
Totally understood. A lot of folks didn't do much other than some snow removal, especially yesterday. Anthony, did you, have the...
I did 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And I would say, Mike asked me how much we got up where I live, northern suburbs. 6 in some little drifts, but I'd say maybe like 5.
Okay.
At least
Gonna go with 5 as your number.
At least
It was light. It was powdery.
Very powdery, kind of easy to remove. Our neighbor had a leaf blower out there doing it. So,
there you go.
Yeah, blowing it away. All right, well, here's the deal. Today, snow isn't the main story. It's the cold. It's going to be sunny, too. Bright but frigid start to the day at 9. It'll be 2. Sunny but very cold at noon, 7. And then sunny and breezy at 4 with a temperature of 9. I think we might be able to hit 10. So it's cold until further notice. Below freezing for the rest of the week at least. Rest of the month, at least. No big storms this week, but I'm watching for the possibility of impactful lake effect snow here Friday into Saturday. Right now, it's the cold, and we have a few spots below 0, especially west of the city. Woodstock, Aurora, Morris with the minuses there. 4 above at the lakefront, 3 above at Gary, only headed for a high of 10. Gabriella, how about some travel times?
All right, thank you, Mike. Yeah, let's take a look at your travel times here to start your 5 o'clock hour. 25 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. If you're traveling outbound towards O'Hare, it's going to be around the same 25 minutes, maybe even less. Just know that long 190 ramp might get a little crowded this time of morning as business people are trying to leave, potentially. 25 minutes also on the Eisenhower from Route 390 to the old post office. Just above 20 minutes on the Stevenson, and at 20 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn interchange. A little heavy because we have 2 crashes on the inbound side, one approaching Cermak and the other approaching Roosevelt Road.
All right, thank you, Gabby. And the winter storm that made its way across the south and northeast is having an impact here as well.
Roseanne is live at O'Hare with the latest. Good morning, Roseanne.
Good morning. Let's talk about that. How is O'Hare impacted by all of this? Well, it is harder to get into O'Hare than out of O'Hare this morning. If you have a flight scheduled and you're leaving from here, know that 42 flights are canceled today. But if you are picking somebody up, well, 131 flights headed into O'Hare canceled. At Midway, 7 outbound flights are canceled, but 22 that were scheduled to arrive are canceled. And so with all the snow, sleet, and freezing rain across much of the country, it's really no surprise the massive winter storm led to 10,000 flights canceled yesterday. And while Chicago, we're used to bad weather and cancellations, places like Dallas, Fort Worth, Charlotte, and Atlanta may not be. Those airports also have major hubs, so it created quite a problem yesterday. Now, today, there are still more than 3,600 cancellations within, into, or out of the U.S. nationwide, and there's a lot of catch-up to do after all those canceled flights yesterday. Just getting our feet on the ground here at O'Hare, we're going to be talking to some of the passengers about how they've been impacted by the incredible weather. Luckily for us, as Mike said, it's more about the cold, so flights may be in better shape here than in much of the country. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thank you so much, Roseanne, for that report. All right, breaking news overnight. Crews respond to a fire at an apartment building on the city's north side. This was in the 2300 block of West Toohey. Fire officials say the fire started on the first floor and at least 1 person was hospitalized. They also say one of the big challenges fighting this fire was the low temperatures.
All right, there are dueling narratives from Minneapolis and federal officials following the killing of a man in Minneapolis by Border Patrol agents. 37-year-old Alex Preddy was shot and killed at an anti-ICE rally. The Department of Homeland Security said that the federal agents acted in self-defense after attempting to disarm Preddy, which videos of the scene appear to show that they successfully did prior to one of the agents opening fire. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says that self-defense claim was nonsense after reviewing videos of the shooting.
The question is, what's the plan, Donald Trump? What is the plan? What do we need to do to get these federal agents out of our state? You thought fear, violence, and chaos is what you wanted from us, and you clearly underestimated the people of this state and nation.
Border Patrol senior official Gregory Bavino held a press conference nearby. Bavino reiterated that claim that the agent shot Preddy in self-defense after he tried to interfere with those agents. Bavino said he brandished a weapon and violently resisted arrest as agents tried to disarm him. But some video appears to contradict those statements.
Think of what those agents were doing on that scene, making a split-second decision. You've had 24 hours to try and armchair quarterback things. That agent had a split seconds to make a decision.
Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison will be in federal court this morning, where he will make arguments in front of a judge trying to get a restraining order against Operation Metro Surge.
Amid this, protesters hit the streets of Chicago despite the snow and cold that we saw this weekend. They gathered yesterday at Ida B. Wells and Michigan Avenue downtown to protest ongoing immigration enforcement. Mayor Brandon Johnson was there, and he called for defunding and abolishing ICE.
Chicago is not just the greatest city in the world, but we are the toughest city in the world, and a little bit of snow and cold will not stop us. Not only should we defund ICE, but it is time to abolish ICE and send Greg Bovino out. Are you with us, Chicago?
All right, the man found not guilty in the murder-for-hire plot against Border Chief Gregory Bavino now faces deportation. The Sun-Times says that Juan Espinoza Martinez was taken into ICE custody last Friday, and that was just a day after his victory in court. The Sun-Times reports that Martinez has lived in Chicago for 30 years, although Homeland Security had previously accused Espinoza Martinez of being in the country illegally.
5:06 now. This year's Super Bowl is now set. I couldn't stay up for the last game last night. I couldn't do it. I watched at 2 p.m., but Mike, you have a breakdown for us.
That's right. We're going to get a rematch from the Super Bowl in 2015. Let's start in the AFC. The Broncos hosted the Patriots. All the scoring was done before the snow really picked up. The Broncos had a chance to tie it in the fourth with a field goal, but they missed after the ball was blocked. Oh boy, the Patriots go on to win this one 10-7. There you see it being tipped offline. Patriots quarterback Drake May, an MVP candidate, talked after the game.
Going to the Super Bowl, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty cool. So just proud of this team, proud of the defense. We didn't play our best ball in the first half, and the second half came out and just battling the elements, snow and the elements, and it was a gritty win, and our defense, they stepped up. It was fun to watch.
An exciting game on the NFC side. The Seahawks hosting the Rams. They've had a couple of doozies this year already. That was a beautiful play to Njigba. All right, a lot more scoring in this one. Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold each threw for more than 300, 3 touchdowns each. The Rams trailed by 4 and went for it right here on 4th down on the Seattle 6. What are you going to do? And it's incomplete. Rams come up empty. Seahawks go on to win 31-27. Their coach, Mike McDonald, reacted to the win.
I don't really know what to say. I'm incredibly proud of our team. I'm happy for the 12s, happy for our city. What an atmosphere, just to be able to take it in after and understand what our team's been able to do up to this point and how they've done it. We're just blessed, just really blessed.
All right, so we're down to the final game of the season. The opening line for the Super Bowl has Seattle as a 3.5-point favorite. The Blackhawks hosted the Florida Panthers. The Hawks trailed by a goal in the second, but tied right here, and a goal from Tyler Bertuzzi. The hometown faithful were excited. We're coming back, right? No, it was all Panthers from there. They score 4 unanswered and go on to win this one big, 5-1. All right, on to the weather, and good job getting out to the UC last night and all that snow that we had in the city. 6 to 10 inches of snow fell across the portions of Chicago. Right now, we still have quite a bit of cloud cover. It looks like the clouds, you can see a little bit of thinning taking place to the north. The farther northwest you are, and that's where the sun's going to be breaking out the first. It's 1 at O'Hare, and it's not 100% cloudy. This icon here is a mostly cloudy, where we see a little bit of that moon. That is indicating that skies are beginning to break there. We have a northwest wind at 11, so that wind chill is still painful. Feels like 16 degrees below zero. Where the skies have cleared, it's gotten colder. It's 4 below at Rockford, DeKalb, 2 below at LaSalle, 2 above at Midway and Chicago Heights, 3 at Merrillville, 14 at Michigan City, where the snow has finally ended. Still have some snow coming down, though, in Berrien County. Winds generally west-northwest. The strongest wind looks to be right now in Waukegan with a 21-mile-an-hour wind gust. But these winds, while not horrible, are enough to be producing wind chills in a lot of spots, double digits below zero. The worst of it, Aurora, DeKalb, Morris, 20 below zero or worse. We're going to keep that cold weather advisory in effect for another 7 hours, roughly. This is more or less to account for those wind chills, which could get worse than minus 20 at times this morning. Zooming out, you see the lake effect snow coming to an end, and you see skies about to clear here across most of Chicagoland. So I'm going to forecast increasing sunshine, but a high temperature of only 10. Wind chills this morning, maybe down to minus 20.
Oh, whew. All right, Mike. Thank you, sir. 5:10, and tension continues in Minnesota after another deadly shooting by federal immigration agents.
We have a live report from Minneapolis coming up ahead.
Renovation.
Welcome back. Turning our attention again to Minnesota, some businesses in Minneapolis are banding together to send a message to the feds.
Yes, they want Border Patrol agents and ICE out of their city. Saquon is in Minneapolis this morning, where a memorial for the man killed by an ICE agent is growing. Say, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Yeah, and I just want to kind of give you an idea of where in Minneapolis this is, because Minneapolis is pretty spread out. So we are in what's known as the Whittier neighborhood. People here in Minneapolis will call it Eat Street because this is where some of the best small businesses are. And I'm talking about some of the best restaurants here in the Twin Cities. Let's talk first, though, about this memorial, because I will say, you know, I got out here on Saturday night just to check this out for myself, and it was already big then. Obviously, I was here yesterday all throughout the morning, and now I'm returning to a memorial that has grown, almost doubled in size, it looks like. You can see lots of candles are still lit this morning. People have been dropping off fresh flowers as early as right now, you know, and obviously we're talking about a new week, and people are heading back to school, people are heading back to work. And one thing about Minneapolis is that this community never stops showing up. They will show up for one another, help out each other, help out businesses in the area, and also just to kind of give you an idea of what those community efforts have looked like here in our state. Yesterday when I was out here, a lot of these people were buying, you know, donuts from Glam Doll Donuts, which is just across the street. This is a very popular business here, and they were, you know, passing out donuts to anyone who was out here. A lot of these businesses have also opened up their doors to people who might be protesting or people who are just out here at the memorial, making sure they have access to things like a warming space right now, but also, you know, things like food and water as well. Now, you did mention, of course, you know, a lot of these businesses also teaming up to call out some of these elected officials, and that's very similar to the language you're hearing from the community as well. We know 60 CEOs from Minnesota-based companies have basically signed on to an open letter urging de-escalation right now and a better solution. And again, they're calling out our elected officials, both at the local, state, and federal levels right now, to find a better solution and get ICE out. That is exactly the language we've been hearing for weeks on end. When you walk anywhere in Minneapolis, that's everywhere right now. People have spray painted that onto buildings and making that message very clear that they want ICE out of our state. Guys?
What form does that take, say? You're kind of our eyes and ears on the ground when you do go around to different businesses, whether it's a storefront or a, you know, a department store, something like that. You mentioned spray paint. What other things are different about the city itself in the last couple of days?
Yeah, and I'm glad you're asking this too, because things have felt different, and I think people have noticed that. These businesses, I will just say, are smaller businesses that are owned by people of color for the most part. And, you know, when there's federal agents around, they are kind of, right, in a sense, risking their own safety by opening up their doors for people to get inside and stay warm and, you know, obviously have a place to just, you know, hunker down for a little bit. I will say, though, it feels different going into these businesses because some of these businesses have now reduced their hours out of the protection of their employees. Others have, at this point now, have reduced their hours or have closed outright for a couple of days this week because of some of the trauma they endured. That shooting, you know, of Alex Preddy was basically right here. And so you think about that business just across the street, as I mentioned, Glam Doll Donuts. That video that we all saw that has been circulating on social media really around the globe came out of that building right there from employees. So, of course, you know, these employees now are trying to figure out, okay, how do we operate a business and how do we keep making money at a time where they were just starting to find their footing? But also, how do we take time for ourselves to make sure that we are taking the time to you know, experience this ourselves and you know, find time to grieve a little bit and heal as well. So it feels different walking in there. There's less employees right now out of their own safety, of course, but also just reduced hours. Things are very different here.
Wow. All right, Say, thank you so much for your insight. We know that Say Kwan just joined our morning team recently, coming from Fox 9 in Minneapolis, and is offering us great reports heading back over to
It is great to have her. She's got so much context.
She really does.
From her experience there. So really noticing some differences in the atmosphere of the city. We're going to be checking in with Say throughout the morning.
Again in the 6 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
All right, to some other news. A private jet carrying 8 people crashed during a takeoff in Bangor, Maine. No word yet on the conditions of those on board. Bangor International Airport says emergency crews were on the scene last night. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. The crash comes as the Northeast was hit with a massive winter storm.
Talks to end the war between Ukraine and Russia, they are expected to continue later this week after this weekend's talks wrapped up without a deal. They involve Ukraine's top negotiators, Russian military intelligence members, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff, and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. Conversations were constructive, we're told, but that did not stop Russia from launching several airstrikes in several different areas in Ukraine.
President Trump is threatening to impose a 100% tariff on goods imported from Canada. The threat came after Canada continued ahead with trade talks with China. In a post on social media, the president said if Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, wants to make Canada a drop-off port for China, he is sorely mistaken. It was unclear whether this tariff would be imposed immediately.
All right, let's talk about the weather now with Mike Kaplan. It's been a wild couple of days here with the cold and multiple rounds of snow. What are we doing today as we kick off the work week?
Hey, the sun's coming out.
Hey.
That's good.
So how about that? Put the positive spin on things there. Look, I just was having a little personal, outfit problem. Static electricity. My pants were stuck to my socks like halfway up my leg. So I mentioned this last week. A lot of static electricity. The air is extremely dry. You bring that very dry air from outside inside, and it gets even drier. So relative humidity extremely low. Kids going to school today, assuming a lot of them are, make sure that they are ready for full-on winter. Not only do we have the cold to bundle up for, but we got all that snow, so it's kind of slushy and icky. Give them some cruddy shoes or something that's waterproof. At noon, 7, and it'll be 10 at 3 o'clock. Bundle up for that ride home, kids. And adults as well. Still a little bit of lake effect snow, especially in Michigan. That is ending, and you see the skies are going to clear, and we'll see a good deal of sunshine today, but boy, it's not going to help. Maybe we get to 10 for the high today with wind chills below 0 all day long. Tonight, I think we'll start with clear skies, but then clouds quickly come in, and it's possible there could be a brief snow shower or a flurry. I think far north overnight or wee hours of the morning tomorrow. This is not a big deal. There will be some lake effect again tomorrow in parts of Michigan, and then skies will clear out a little bit tomorrow night. Wednesday, we should have partly to mostly cloudy skies in here with temperatures remaining well below normal. This time of year, freezing, thereabouts is the normal high. I got nothing today. 10, at least we see sunshine. West winds at 10 to 20 will keep those wind chills below 0 all day long. Tonight down to 5. Rising temperatures and a couple of flurries, especially north. Looking at the 7-day, not a single day above freezing here. At least we get into the 20s. I am concerned Friday and or Saturday for another impactful lake effect event. It is simply too early to tell. Is it going to be here? Is it going to be there? We'll see where that baby goes. All right, what about traffic, Gabriella?
Mike, let's talk about those travel times here at 5:20, 25, or let's say 27 minutes now on the Kennedy from here to downtown. That went up by a couple. Going outbound still at 25 or just under it. Under 25 on the Eisenhower from Route 390 to the old post office. Under 25 as well on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Looking a little better on the Dan Ryan at just under 20 minutes from 95th to the Burn interchange. We had those earlier 2 crashes on the inbound side. If you are heading over to I-65, say, going eastbound on I-80-94 to Michiana, there is a crash near Grant Street. It's blocking a left lane. It involves a pickup truck, so just be aware of that.
All right. 5:22, and we could be facing yet another government shutdown at the end of this week.
We're talking with Fox political analyst Doug Luzader about why Democrats are sounding the alarm.
Helium Mount.
All right, today the IRS is opening its annual tax filing season. Those who have their W-2s can calculate what they will owe or what they'll get as a refund and file their taxes with the federal government. New tax provisions in last summer's Big Beautiful Bill may benefit some taxpayers. Some provisions include no tax on tips, no tax on overtime pay, no tax on car loan interest, and enhanced deductions for seniors.
A new report says more cuts are on the way at Amazon as the company leans into AI. The company cut about 14,000 white-collar jobs in October as it aims to make about 30,000 total job eliminations. The new job cuts could affect areas such as Amazon Web Services, retail, Prime Video, and human resources.
Waymo robo-taxis are under investigation of the National Transportation Safety Board. The NTSB announced the investigation after a series of incidents of the robotic cars passing stopped school buses. At least 24 such incidents have been reported in the Austin area. The company says it's continually improving its Waymo driver system, and there have been no collisions involved.
A new airline is crowned #1 in an annual ranking by the Wall Street Journal. Southwest made the top spot of the airline industry's best performers of 2025. Southwest dethroned Delta, which had held on to that top spot the previous 4 years. Coming in at #2, another low-cost carrier, Allegiant Air. Delta, which led the industry in on-time arrivals, fell down to #3. Last year, Delta did face increases in both delays and cancellations. All right, 5:27, Mike Kaplan. Might be fun to just hop on a Southwest flight and maybe go to the deep Southwest.
Whoa.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the few spots that did not get hit with, the storm. Seattle, where they played the football game yesterday, kind of missed out on this. But boy, so many parts of the country just absolutely, crushed, including here in Chicago. An awful lot of lake effect snow. We've done away with that right now. In fact, skies are in the process of clearing from west to east. Kind of see that here on the satellite imagery. It's a little difficult to tell where the clouds are. I'll try and give you an idea where the back edge is, where I can tell kind of like right in here. Everywhere this side, we still have some cloud cover. To the left of that line, skies are clearing out. So, yay for sunshine, but look what it does to temperatures. Basically nothing. 10. That's it for the high. That's more than 20 degrees colder than normal on this date. We'll have a west wind at 10 to 20. So this morning, wind chills could be around 20 below zero. Let's take a quick look at those and see where we are right now. It is 20 below for a wind chill at Aurora. About the same at Kankakee. Feels like 14 below at Midway. 15 below at Valparaiso. Now, the 7-day forecast, we've got ourselves another cold week here every single day, below normal and below freezing. There is no thaw in sight for at least the next week. Maybe a couple of flurries late tonight, tomorrow morning. Then a concerning potential for more lake effect snow, but a lot of details have to be ironed out for this one. Friday into Saturday with temperatures staying in the 20s. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. Stick around. We have more news, weather, and traffic right after this short break. We'll be right back.
Get beautiful.
Now, Good Day Chicago. The winter storm is having an impact on at least half the country, bringing snow, ice, and major travel issues.
Unrest continues after another deadly shooting at the hands of federal immigration agents in Minneapolis.
And the shooting in Minneapolis beats protests here in Chicago. What Mayor Brandon Johnson is saying. Mike.
All right, it is just plain cold out there right now. The snow isn't falling anymore, but there's still plenty of it on the ground. And the road's not in the best of condition because it's so cold. Salt just isn't as effective, but at least we'll see some sun today. Maybe that'll help. Gabriella, what kind of travel times are we looking at?
Mike, we're looking okay this time of morning here at 5:30 on your Monday. On the Kennedy, you're looking at 25 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, around 25 as well on the Eisenhower, just over 20 on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and under 20 minutes still on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange. A little stop and go starting on the Bishop Ford as you approach 95th. Let's talk about some breaking news overnight. Crews responded to a fire at an apartment building on the city's north side. This was in the 2300 block of West Toohey. Fire officials say the fire started on the first floor and at least one person was hospitalized. They also say one of the big challenges fighting this fire was the low temperatures.
The winter storm that made its way across the south and northeast is having an impact here this morning as well.
We have a Roseanne Tellez live at O'Hare giving us some of the latest. How's it looking, Roseanne?
You know, it's not horrible at O'Hare, but what a weekend for travel. We have not spoken to one person who wasn't impacted in some way by all of the mess over the weekend. So how is O'Hare impacted? If you have a flight today, there are 42 flights canceled and 28 delays. 131 flights headed to O'Hare are also canceled. That's the bigger problem, really. And at Midway, 7 outbound and 22 inbound flights canceled as well. So with all the sleet and snow and freezing rain over the weekend, it's no surprise the massive winter storm led to 10,000 cancellations yesterday. Today, there are more than 3,600 nationwide. That's within, into, or out of the U.S. There are 769 delays on the boards. Now, we're at United this morning, has 39 canceled flights, only 6 delays. We were talking to one passenger, Alberto Alvarez, who is hoping this time it's a go.
This is the third time, actually, that we stay stuck in here. And the airline was very, very nice. You know, they gave us vouchers so we can stay in the hotel, and also for extra tickets. I mean, so flight tickets for today. But he's been chaotic. I mean, it's been crazy.
Yes, and that is a familiar story. People taking another stab at trying to get out of O'Hare. We're going to hear from this family, and later this morning, they're traveling with 4 kids. But as for Alvarez, he was here for his son's graduation from the Naval Academy, from training camp, and now he's trying to get back to Texas. So he's got not only, issues here, but bigger issues in Texas to deal with trying to get home. Just going to be one of those days where people are trying to make up for whatever happened over the weekend. Back to you guys in the studio.
Oh boy, okay. Thanks, Roseanne, for the latest. Well, that's the latest around here in Chicago, but we know areas in the south and northeast are also still clearing out with the heavy snow and ice following that massive winter storm.
Yeah, and it's not over yet in this situation. More areas could see snow and plummeting temperatures. Caroline Shively is live in Washington, D.C. with the latest. Caroline, looks like they got plenty of snow there.
Plenty here, Anthony and Gabriella, for sure. We got about 7.5 inches of snow. It was that beautiful light powdery snow that skiers in Colorado would love to have. Take a look over here. That is the layer. It was beautiful if you came out here in the morning like walking on a cloud, but then you had about 3 hours of sleet and freezing rain. It came down on top of that snow, and what was once like walking in a cloud is now like trying to get through concrete. So that's what the plows and the emergency crews will be trying to get through today, and also fighting freezing temperatures, low of 4 tonight. That Jeep's doing pretty well. A low of 4 tonight, but the feels like temperature will be below 0.
Water meters busted, there's water going everywhere, trees fell on the cars.
Snow and ice blanketing communities across more than half the country, throughout swaths of the south and up to the northeast, with more expected to keep falling in some regions into Monday.
We've been plowing for almost 12 hours.
The slick conditions accompanied by extremely low temperatures, threatening more damage and travel delays.
an Arctic siege has taken over our state and many other states.
People in New York, Philadelphia, and Boston will have plenty of digging out to do as a buildup of sleet and freezing rain triggers fears of worsening power outages, especially down south.
If you get to a situation where you have traffic signals that are out or no power, please treat them as stop signs.
There's live wires down in people's yards. There's one in my yard.
Meanwhile, with tens of thousands of flights being canceled or delayed Sunday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tells Fox it was the worst day of flight cancellations since March of 2020.
We had massive disruption in the airspace, and so you have to work through that backlog and maintain the current flight structure for the coming days.
And local communities are telling folks, stay off the roads if you possibly can. Looking at the numbers, it's just astounding. More than 17 states got at least a foot of snow. Others got ice. Some places like here in D.C. got both. So if you can stay home, do it. Anthony and Gabriella, back to you.
Yeah, good advice.
Idea.
Yep, indeed. Caroline, thank you so much. All right, switching gears here. There are dueling narratives from Minnesota officials versus federal officials after the killing of a man over the weekend in Minneapolis by ICE agents. 37-year-old Alex Preddy was shot and killed at an anti-ICE rally. The Department of Homeland Security said that the federal agents acted in self-defense after attempting to disarm him, which videos of the scene appear to show that they successfully did prior to one of the agents opening fire. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, meantime, says that that self-defense claim was nonsense after reviewing videos of the shooting.
Question is, what's the plan, Donald Trump? What is the plan? What do we need to do to get these federal agents out of our state? You thought fear, violence, and chaos is what you wanted from us, and you clearly underestimated the people of this state and nation.
Border Patrol senior official Gregory Bovino held a press conference shortly after the shooting happened. He reiterated that claim that the agent shot Preddy in self-defense after he tried to interfere with those agents. Bovino said he brandished a weapon and violently resisted arrest as agents tried to disarm him. But, again, that video appears to contradict those statements.
Think of what those agents were doing on that scene, making a split-second decision. You've had 24 hours to try and armchair quarterback things. That agent had a split seconds to make a decision.
Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison, he's there at the podium in this video. He will be in federal court this morning where he'll make arguments in front of a judge trying to get a restraining order against Operation Metro Surge.
Amid this, protesters hit the streets of Chicago despite the snow and the cold that we saw over the weekend. They gathered yesterday at IDB Wells and Michigan Avenue downtown to protest ongoing immigration enforcement. Mayor Brandon Johnson was there. He called for defunding and abolishing ICE.
Chicago is not just the greatest city in the world, but we are the toughest city in the world, and a little bit of snow and cold will not stop us. Not only should we defund ICE, but it is time to abolish ICE and send Greg Bovino out. Are you with us, Chicago?
All right, the man found not guilty in the murder-for-hire plot against Border Chief Gregory Bovino now faces deportation. The Sun-Times says Juan Espinoza Martinez was taken into ICE custody last Friday. That was just the day after his victory in court. Homeland Security had previously accused Espinoza Martinez, although he's lived in Chicago for 30 years, of being in the country illegally.
5:40 now. Let's talk about over the weekend. Everyone is bundled up, even those dogs. I was seeing some dogs maybe experiment with
the booties,
with little booties for the first time. Some funky walking.
Keep those paws warm.
They typically don't like the booties.
No, it was hilarious.
But you know, most dogs in that really, when the snow is there and it's this cold, they do that thing with the feet because it's very, very cold out there. The snow is going to be on the ground for a long time because there is just no thaw anywhere in sight here. Right now, it's 1 at O'Hare. We have a northwest wind at 11, so the wind chill at O'Hare is 16 degrees below zero. These are the current temperatures. Where skies have cleared, temperatures have dropped a little bit more. For example, into Calb, it's 4 below. Chicago's lakefront, where it's still cloudy, 4 above. We've got 3 at Gary and 4 at Valparaiso. Michigan City, finally out of the snow there, 14 degrees. But that lake effect, ooh, that was rough last night, especially in Indiana. Winds, right now, most of the speeds kind of 10 to 15. We do have a 21-mile-an-hour gust at Waukegan. in. The winds will pick up a little bit this afternoon, so these wind chills are not going to change a lot. We have a few spots that are 20 below zero now or worse, including Woodstock, Aurora, close to it. I mean, O'Hare is 16 below. We're splitting hairs. Very uncomfortable. So it is a cold weather advisory in effect until noon today for all of Chicagoland. This is to account for wind chills, which will likely get below 20 below zero. There you see the lake effect finally getting out of the area. Skies will be clearing and we'll see sunshine, but it's not going to help much with the temperatures. 10 for a high today. That's more than 20 degrees colder than normal for late January. Tonight, there will be an increase in cloud cover. You saw a little area of blue, mainly north. It might be enough to produce a brief snow shower or a flurry, I would think, in Lake and McHenry County overnight. During the day tomorrow, we should break out into at least partly cloudy skies here, but temperatures remain well below normal. And at the end of the week, there's another chance for some lake effect snow. I'll discuss that when I show you the 7-day forecast here in just about 10 minutes. We'll be right back after this.
Pay attention.
Welcome back. A man is in custody after a woman and her 4-year-old child were found shot to death at their home in Joliet. Police were called to Garnsey Avenue at around 7 yesterday morning. Officers found a 36-year-old woman and her 4-year-old child in the backyard, dead from gunshot wounds. They also found the woman's 8-year-old son in a bedroom. He was not harmed. Police say they found the 29-year-old suspect with a gunshot wound to his ankle, which appeared to be self-inflicted. Investigators say this appears to be a domestic incident between the suspect and the victims.
A woman is charged in connection with a shooting in Oak Park last year. Officers arrested 23-year-old Lisette Chavez over the weekend. Police say that she shot and seriously injured a 25-year-old woman in the 6100 block of North Karlov. That was back on March 15th. Chavez is charged with attempted murder and aggravated battery.
A private jet carrying 8 people crashed during takeoff in Bangor, Maine. No word yet on the conditions of those on board. Bangor International Airport says emergency crews were on the scene last night. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. The crash comes as the Northeast was hit with massive winter storm.
The next government shutdown is set for Friday, January 30th, if no agreement is reached with the latest spending package. Last year's government shutdown was the longest in U.S. history, and the current proposal includes $65 billion in funding for Homeland Security. A number of Democratic senators have said that they will not support it, at least until there are major changes to immigration enforcement policy.
President Trump is threatening to impose a 100% tariff on goods imported from Canada. The threat came after Canada continued ahead with trade talks with China. In a post to social media, the president said if Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, wants to make Canada a drop-off port for China, he is sorely mistaken. It was unclear whether this tariff would be imposed immediately. All right, 5:47. Stick around for more news and weather right after this break.
Welcome back. Right now on Good Day Chicago on your Monday morning, there are more cancellations and delays at Chicago's airports due to the winter storm. As of this morning, there are more than 170 cancellations at O'Hare, 30 at Midway. The weekend snow also had a big impact at both airports with more than 700 cancellations combined.
Breaking overnight, crews respond to a fire at an apartment building on the city's north side. This was in the 2300 block of West 2E. Fire officials say the fire started on the first floor and at least one person was hospitalized.
All right, the matchup is set for Super Bowl 60. The New England Patriots will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks in a rematch of the Super Bowl in 2015. They will play in Santa Clara, California on February 8th.
Okay, let's talk taxes. Today, the IRS is opening its annual tax filing season. Those who have their W-2s can calculate what they will owe or what they'll get as a refund and file their taxes with the federal government. New tax revisions in last summer's Big Beautiful Bill may benefit some taxpayers. Some provisions include no tax on tips, no tax on overtime pay, no tax on car loan interest, and enhanced deductions for seniors.
A new airline has been crowned #1 in an annual ranking by the Wall Street Journal. Southwest made the top spot of the airline industry's best performers of 2025. And Southwest dethroned Delta, which had held on to that top spot for the previous 4 years. Coming in at #2 for 2025, another low-cost carrier, Allegiant Air. Delta, which led the industry in on-time arrivals, fell down to the #3 spot. Last year, Delta did face increases in delays, cancellations, and complaints.
You're going to like this, Anthony. A major accomplishment for one Chicago area athlete. Oswego High School sophomore Ethan Vall scored his 1,000th point in basketball over the weekend. He did it in a game against Bolingbrook High School, finishing the night with 30 points. It's a milestone most players spend 4 years chasing, but Vall did it midway through his sophomore season. Vall is ranked as one of the top 25 guards in the country by ESPN and the #3 overall player in Illinois for the class of 2028.
Very cool. Congrats to him. He's got some moves for sure. Here's another incredible feat. And this was over the weekend broadcast live on Netflix.
Did you watch it?
I did not, but I saw a lot of the little clips cross my social media feed. I interviewed Alex.
Did
the guy,
you?
Yeah,
Oh, so you're old friends.
Here on Good Day Chicago. We go way back. Yeah, that's Alex Honnold. He ascended the Taipei 101 skyscraper, no ropes, no protective equipment. And that climb kept viewers on edge for 90 minutes as he climbed to the spire of the 1,667-foot tower. Honnold is most famous for his ropeless climb up El Capitan, El Cap, that's in Yosemite. After the climb, Honnold said it was really windy. He was trying to maintain his balance, but he also said it was a beautiful way to see Taipei.
Now that
that's
you
one
were
way to
reading
see it.
I was really able to look at our footage, and wow. He seems fairly calm up there. You know, you really have to be wired different.
He is. Actually, biologically or physiologically speaking, they did a documentary on him and the way his brain works. And there's something about they did a CT scan. And I'm going to mess up the science and mess up, but the gist of it is his brain does not process fear in a normal way.
Clearly.
So there's some fact to that. Okay.
Yeah. Laura and I watched almost all of that, and absolutely, spellbinding, and just like, how is he doing that? How is he doing that?
Were there any scary moments, like where he slipped?
No, never looked like he was, slipped, nothing. He was just methodical.
I think this was walk in the park for him.
Yeah, it's that building incredible. Yeah. And then when he was standing up on top of that spire, even that, I'm like, forget about it. Forget about it. All right, we had some rough weather, no question, this weekend. It was cold. We had snow. The lake effect was really something, and we expected that. And it's been going overnight, pointed toward Michiana. It is now finally beginning to wind down, except in Michigan. And in fact, skies are in the process of clearing across Chicagoland. We're going to see, yay, sunshine, but boy, it's not going to help much at all. Maybe the sunlight hitting the pavement might make it a little bit better, but the chemicals are not any good in these temperatures. There's a cold front on the way, and with that, overnight, there could be a little light snow or a flurry, maybe Lake McHenry County. Not a big deal, but a reinforcing shot of cold air coming in for sure during the day. Tomorrow, temperatures barely in the teens again. And we'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. And then the question for me is moving forward, looking at Friday and Saturday, our computer models are setting up lake effect once again. It's simply too early to tell how much, who's going to get it, but I think lake effect could be a problem again Friday and Saturday somewhere in our area. 10 today, cold, wind chills below 0 all day long, sunshine, that's nice. 5 tonight, with rising temperatures overnight and a small chance for a couple of flurries or a light snow shower, mainly well north of Chicago. 16 tomorrow, 15 Wednesday, 18 Thursday. At least we have 20s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But there's that chance for some lake effect snow coming into the area on Sunday, 28, and maybe next week we can get a 30 in there, but certainly not until then. So for the rest of the month, it's below freezing. 4 very lovely pictures. Let's get through them pretty quickly. How about this? Look at the lake. David Kahn showing showing us the ice, which has quickly expanded over the lake. And that ice will have some impact on lake effect snow later this week. We'll be talking more about that in the days to come. Beautiful blue sky back there, David. Photo number 2. How about that scene? Another David Kahn shot there from Prairie Avenue in Chicago. I like how you got that light in there, too. Very cool scene there amidst all the snow that came down. Next up, it's not from David Kahn. It's from Brian Novak, and he takes us to Charlevoix, Michigan. Plenty of ice there out around the lighthouse and that pier pointing out there into the lake. That is a cool shot there. Love the red. And last picture this hour, this comes to us from Glenn Cuppert. And that is a snow sparrow in Arlington Heights. It's not an actual bird. We're just calling it a snow sparrow because of the snow that was coming down. We call that a biff, a bird in flight in Photoland. 5:57. We're coming back with more of Good Day right after this.
This Morgan video was not approved.